on your camera. I see all the panelists here, or not yet. George, nice to meet you. Ryan, Thomas as well. Turn your cameras, please. We are here on the panel, and now, yes, we can try to make it happen.
So we are waiting for Joshua from Binance, and we are waiting for V.Ivanov from Jax Network. So
I think, yes,
let's
Ivan,
wait.
it will be good that you turn on your camera, please.
Yes.
The speakers are already here. They are already available. We are on live now, please. Yes. We can start somehow being
I think not all speakers are here, so we are waiting. We are still waiting for Joshua from Binance and for V.Ivanov from Jax Network. So let's wait a couple of minutes.
I think the best way to not wait for a couple of minutes, you can go ahead, you can speak with your panelists, and you can, find out the way how to make it happen in this couple of minutes before speakers come.
Yeah, we are also waiting for Charles Tsai. So I think it's better. So because we are still waiting for 3 people, and so I think it's better to wait. Or we can start with Ryan and George to discuss their topics. And so let me also make short coverage. So the topic of the session is how blockchain helps to revolutionize capital markets. And I do believe it's very kind of like very broad topic, and there are many applications of blockchain regarding the capital markets. Oh, I see Charles is joining right now, and yeah, so I would like to introduce the panelists, so which already joined the panel. So George Chu from FIO1. Ryan Lackey from Tezos Foundation, so Chief Security Officer, and so I see Charles Tsai from Infinivision, and so Charles also had a background in McDonald's China, so he can also share the insights how the blockchain can be applied to several industries. So we are still waiting for V.Ivanov and for Joshua. Let me share the. Oh, I just got the message from Joshua that he cannot join because of the connection is weak in his countryside, so he loses the Wi-Fi.
Charles, Thomas, please turn on your cameras. We are on air now. That's why it'll be great to see your faces.
Okay, so what I would like to suggest is to start with short introductions by the speakers, by panelists. So and Charles, so maybe you will be the first one. So let's make short introduction about your background and about yourself, and then we can move forward.
Okay, thank you for the invitation. I just left McDonald's China. I was a CEO and the Chief Data Officer as well, Chief Information Officer for McDonald's China for over 2 years. And before that, I was working for Wanda, which is the biggest commercial properties business in China. And before that, I was working as a chief architect for energy trading in business, British Petroleum, as well as Barclays Capital investment bank. So my background is all about digital transformation for this kind of big, we call entity or physical businesses. So my particular interest is about big data and modern distributed computing and IoT, as well as a blockchain, of course. So yeah, that's my background. And Infinivision is actually a joint venture between my one of my research and development institute and Citic Capital, as well as McDonald's China. So I'm the co-founder and the CEO of the startup company. It's all about distributed computing plus blockchain plus AI. So which we can discuss later. That's me. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So Ryan.
Sure. Hi, I'm Ryan Lackey. I'm Chief Security Officer of Tezos Foundation. I live in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I've been interested in cryptography and digital cash probably since the early 1990s, so a pretty long time, with Chaumian tokens and all sorts of other stuff. And you have to see a lot of these things we tried in the 90s, early 2000s. Not a whole lot of traction trying to get central banks to deploy the technology first, and just sort of seeing how hard it was to build these things before everybody had a secure laptop or a phone that they carried with them at all time and get people to actually use it. And it's amazing to see how every year now there's probably more progress than has happened over the previous like 20 years. So it's very exciting. And one of the things I've been working on for the last couple of years has been capital markets use of digital blockchain technology at Tezos.
Okay, perfect, great. So George.
Yeah, George.
Hi, hi, it's George. Hey, how are you, everyone? In my last 12 years in China, I spent my 12 years in China, and I co-founded the CNET company, which is listed on NASDAQ. I think it's one of the few blockchain company now is listing on NASDAQ right now. Basically, I left the company in last year and founded this company called Fio.1. And so what we do, basically, what we are trying to figure out and provide is a real implementation toolbox for blockchains, whether on the private chain, public chain, or consortiums. Okay, so my whole background, basically, I'm a Taiwanese. I was born in Taiwan, but I grew up in Australia and got my educated in Canada and went Harvard in the States. And then, you know, after Harvard, I dived into China. So that's how my experience is. Yeah. Okay, so I think today is a very exciting day because we can share all these kind of things. I mean, it's great, especially in the COVID-19 situations.
Yeah, definitely right. And so Vinod, can you turn on your camera? Yeah, can you share a little bit about your background? And yeah, I think you need to unmute your microphone, so because we cannot hear.
Okay, yeah. So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so we are building a blockchain. So we have a solution for the scalability problem. And once we get that done, we're hoping to build like a limited smart contract system that can facilitate like a stock exchange kind of, platform. That's what we are working on.
You are building the solution for stock exchange platform, right?
Yeah, but on top of our scaling solution. So the scaling solution is the bottom layer. On top of that, we build this, kind of like crypto stock exchange.
Okay, nice. Perfect. So what I would like to suggest. So all of you have suggested some like topics you want to cover, and so I would like to suggest that Charles to start with. So his cross-border industry career backgrounds in McDonald's China and VP trading division. So actually, so why should investors and big enterprises pay attention to startups with DLT enabled customer like loyalty innovation? And so the second one is why blockchain plus IoT the perfect area for investors to seek clean energy and opportunities trends. So Charles, yeah, your turn on this.
So immediately after end of January, I've been so busy with the team and the management to address the challenge we are facing. Basically, our business was shrunk to less than half, and more importantly, the behavior changed. people don't want to be queued up in the restaurants, and because we come back, we came back to work to office around the middle of February. So yeah, people need to have lunch, you know. So during the lunchtime, our restaurants are still busy, but of course we have to change the software, the apps, and the mini programs, which is within WeChat and Alipay. So that's are very popular. We call omni-channels. People can reach us. So there are behavior change very apparent within and after post COVID-19 this outbreak. So, and on the other hand, because of the challenge, it's a big chain restaurants are facing, and more small restaurants, small business are, yeah, they are having really difficult time even now. So, and on the other hand, we're also facing the really very this kind of competition coming from the internet giants. So how we are going to develop more membership to not only serve our own existing customers, but also potential other customers, especially B2B. For example, other banks, for example, they are facing slow down economy as well. So while we are busy working on this, as I mentioned earlier, changing of apps, these kind of processes, you know, we are focusing more and more on the B2B side. Let's use an example. For example, if we can link a loyalty program with the bank, and normally you would understand that, yeah, the banks, they are having huge customers as well. For example, we have more than 120 million registered users. And you pick up any bank, like even not a tier 4, a tier 1 bank, you know, you still have a bank with, say, 80 million customers. Now we can create a tokenized voucher to enable customer data exchange, so that we can fund. Of course, we're not going to send all of 80,000 customers these McDonald's, you know, vouchers, but rather using AI, big data to identify within their domain who might be interested, so that we can create this kind of a link. Now, the reason I mentioned tokenize, we haven't implemented this kind of a loyalty program, B2B network, but we've been through a lot of kind of product design, and definitely blockchain DLT is the way to go. So with big organization like McDonald's, we do have a lot of technologists, but again, we would be encouraging startups and to provide this kind of a platform, so that not only us, we can try, but also our ecosystem partners can try, because so long as that's not another restaurant or dining brand, that we pretty much can collaborate. So this kind of idea, because I hope startups with their fast kind of innovation speed can help big organizations like us who are suffering from the outbreak, but we are open to test great ideas. So definitely this is the way to go, I believe, for at least for the hospitality industry. We should be looking at, I mean, also the investors should be looking at those innovative ideas, and we are more than happy to facilitate as far as I can see, because there's so many so many opportunities coming from those pressure to compete, and also for the business recovery. So that's my observation, and also our own practical examples we are experimenting in our ecosystem to counter-attack this really negative impact of outbreak. Although if you are in China, you can see a lot of, especially as I mentioned earlier, during the lunchtime, you pretty much can see business as usual. But in reality, we are still suffering much reduced business customer flow. Hopefully, that's, of course, there's a lot of technical details we can discuss, but definitely, I think, there's definitely a need for this kind of investment. And also, and the reason actually I quit McDonald's is that my background is energy. So when after 3 months of hard work in combating this coronavirus, it's also my big career change again, back to where I came from. That's the big energy trading. because we noticed, and you guys must have noticed as well. So suddenly the pollution is gone. You know, we can see blue skies a lot of times, and I found the news there in Venice, you can see the clean water. So yeah, I really want to devote myself into clean energy again. And yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm switching the topic because for me it's a big change out of this outbreak. It's actually another big career change. So I'm about to go back to energy trading area, but focusing more on the physical. And it's a massive. Yeah. There's a huge demand for.
Because we actually have just 10 minutes left, so maybe like a little bit more. So I would like to ask George regarding the real implementation of financial application like on blockchain using DLT and why it is working now. So can you share your view on this? So like real financial applications.
Okay. Hello guys, can you guys hear me? Good?
Yes.
Okay, good. I might just continue what Charles just mentioned. Yeah, because in this process of going through the COVID-19, I think we do face two issues. First of all, the offline business are really going down, okay? And the online business are really coming up faster. And also, you know, in the past years, okay, when people talk about trading the luxury products or doing anything that need a heavy trust stuff, it's not happening. But I think with the coffee process, people see the opportunities. You know, people need a transparency, full transparency of everything, particularly for the medical informations, particularly for the real estate. I mean, the luxury, like diamond, everything. So what happened is, I think for the past 6 months, you know, I see a tremendous growth or need, especially for the business like mine, the field. So we are more like, you know, the SaaS toolboxes, you know, build everything for on the blockchains with the private and public, okay? So people don't have to worry about it. And so in this process, we have seen 4 cases I'm going to give you guys very quickly about what we have done. First of all, I think everyone knows Taiwan being one of the safest place in COVID-19 situation, okay? And our team did a great job that we did the mask 1.0 system for the Taiwan government. Okay, the mask 1.0 distribution system. And we did this whole system amazingly, use the field infrastructure with blockchains. We did everything, connect all the 3 to 4 different government entities in less than about 3 to 4 hours done. Okay, why we can do that when another system integrator company come into to do that and need about a week to complete everything because of the blockchain, because of the transparency, immutable data. So it reduces the time for data verifications. And that's the beauty of that one. And then moving into the second cases, which is the a chicken company, okay, that's very related to McDonald's. It's called Dachshund Food Asia, which has been the supply to McDonald's in China, okay? So Dachshund Food Asia, what we're doing with them refers to Charles said, we see the opportunity of combining the blockchain, IoT, and the NFCs, okay? So for every chicken process or the chicken who produce eggs, we call the egg chicken, that, you know, the NFC is implemented. They use the IoT to monitor, and this IoT information without any human intervention directly going to blockchains for the risk and flow management. In that cases, they are looking for reduction of waste or any bacteria infections by 1%. And for the company, for the agricultural company, that it has a profit margin like about 2 to 3%. If there's a 1% decrease, it's a huge profit already, okay? And the third cases that we did is on esport cases, okay? So there is a esport team that's owned by the Jay Chou, which is a superstar in Asia, and also the other guy called Jeremy Lin, the ex-NBA player, which is the Linsanity, okay? So what we did with them together, they use our 2 boxes to create a liquidity of IP sales in a very trustworthy ways, okay? So they can break their IPs into small pieces. For example, for the IP right, you print on your cell phone, print on your t-shirt, put on your mug, and you are able to track all the sales. It doesn't matter where it goes, okay? And the fourth one is most related to capital market. It's the project we're doing with with the largest crypto exchanges in Taiwan called B2Pro. This exchange is one of the very exciting exchanges, not only focus on cryptocurrencies, but they focus on the real implementation. And this project that we combine with a trade van. Trade van is a semi-government entities. They processing the whole custom reporting for Taiwan. And every year, this entity, they processing about 500 billion USD import and export. And right now, we have about 40,000 businesses registered on this supply chain financing system, with about producing, look at about 6 billion electronic receipts on the blockchains. And the reason we implement blockchains, once again, go to the fundamental things, or think on verifications, trust, transparencies. And then we connect it to all the major e-commerce platforms. So small, medium businesses, they are able to do the financing on a very full, transparent way without any marking funny businesses on the data. Okay, so what we see that the very exciting thing is that the blockchain combined with IoT, I see it's coming, especially with the 5G coming down. It's going to be very exciting in the next 2 years. And the second thing is that, like Charles said, the DOT technologies that we implemented combined with public chain technologies for the supply chains, that's going to be very exciting. So that is why I think the capital market is going to experience a huge changes and transitions after these COVID-19 situations. And not too sure how the bank will handle the situations because they have a huge legacy systems. But I think there's a new opportunity for new form of banks coming up and also new form of businesses once we can get this implementation all down. And for Phil, what our position is, we provide 2 boxes. Anyone can create the solution with us or use the template solution that we have set up with our 18 sample clients in 10 industries. So that's pretty much on my end.
Okay, great. And so next I want to ask Ryan, so about like direct equivalence of existing financial products so that blockchain can create, and also like the things which are possible only on blockchain. So Ryan, your view on this?
Hi, yes, over the last year or two, we've seen people roll out the new STOs on blockchain. So basically securities that are issued initially on blockchain, asset-backed of various kinds. What's worked really well has been real estate-backed because I think a lot of people understand it, and because the existing systems for transferring real estate title between people are not as efficient as, say, the security settlement and clearance systems that are used for public market equities. So I think there's been a lot of innovation there. There's probably also a big market for non-public companies, so private company stock that's normally done in OTC deals or otherwise highly liquid, just a way to track people's capital tables for a small business, pre-IPO business, everything else, where they want to just be able to know who owns the company at any given time. It's amazing how a lot of those things are tracked in Excel spreadsheets right now. And because of people with convertible debt and a bunch of rounds of financing, there are a bunch of people that are CEOs of companies that if you ask them, what percentage of your company do I currently own as an investor, it would actually require that they email the CFO and have a calculation done to give you the exact number, which is pretty crazy. And then there's also, I think one of the things we've seen with COVID-19 is a lot of businesses that are really big businesses haven't really been affected all that much. Like maybe their stock price goes down a little, but it doesn't really affect big companies that are doing retail. I'm sure Amazon's doing better business than it has before and everything else, but a lot of small businesses are really affected by this. Companies like local restaurants, local cafes, bars, things like that, that don't really have access to existing capital markets today. Their access to capital markets is they go to a local bank or they go to friends and families of the founders and things like that to try to raise very small amounts of financing. And there's a lot of difficulty with doing an equity investment in a business that's a small business without knowing the principles really well. Because it's so hard to do accounting, it's so hard to track your investment and everything else. So I think blockchain technology is going to allow new forms of financing for small businesses. In the US, we saw the Groupon, which was the sort of like the group buying startup, where you think about it as a consumer, what it is, it's the way to buy a gift certificate as a discount up front. But as a retail business, what it actually was a way to finance your business in advance. You'd be able to sell a bunch of your yoga classes or whatever else at a big discount up front, but you get a check within 30 days that would let you operate the business, and then over the next 2 years, those might be redeemed. I think we might see things like that moved onto the blockchain. So gift certificates, other forms of customer financing for future business, and maybe third parties that are offering receivables financing and other sort of structured non-equity financing instruments like that might be tradable. And we might see some very more sophisticated things that are either done as a one-off for a given business. So maybe you have a business that has a very strong piece of IP, and you might be able to raise money collateralized against that IP. So every copy of this product that you produce, you then pay $1 to the holders of a token or something like that. And there's a lot of innovations possible just because the transaction costs are lower and the ability to do sort of custom small issues is a lot smaller. I think to do an IPO for a company on a public equities market, probably roughly the same cost, independent of how much in terms of difficulty and time and everything else, largely independent of the size of the issue. So no one's going to IPO their local like cafe, but on blockchain systems, it's a lot easier to tailor that for the individual size of business. Some innovation there.
Okay, nice. So, and I think the last coverage from Vinod. So, can you please share your view on stock exchange implementation? So, like, what's your solution for this? Yeah, please unmute your microphone because we cannot hear you.
Sorry, I keep doing that.
Yeah.
So, first off, we weren't supposed to be on this call, but I think pretty much Ryan covered all the possible things that could be done. So we are working on now Ryan's thing, Ryan's vision of how blockchain could facilitate the evolution of capital markets has 3 problems. One is the scalability problem. The second is, people don't use cryptocurrency on a large scale. So there's the mass adoption problem. And the third thing is security. So we are working towards fixing the scalability problem, because smart contracts, assuming they're secure, pretty much do everything that Ryan wants to do. All we need is a scalable system, which is mass adoptable, so that everybody can facilitate these kind of like rapid, equity swaps and, crowd financing and stuff. So that's what we are working on. And if you'd like to know more, you could check out our vision. It's too much to go through this call.
Okay, that's nice. So we are actually finishing our panel at this moment. So thank you very much all for participating and for sharing your views. It's really valuable, I think, and we will share the live streaming and so the recording on YouTube that people can actually see this. So thank you very much, and sorry for some technical issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.